Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
We have already done this.
Yes, sir.
We have done this yesterday till here. We have completed. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, your slide is not moving.
Slides are moving. Can you see?
Sir, I see your slide, but not moving. Slide.
Pardon?
Yes, yes.
Can you see
Yes, sir.
now?
Yes, sir.
So you have seen that yesterday we have divided this into two form. One was linear, other was non-linear. So we'll start with linear contrast test. What does linear contrast test does? Okay. So a linear contrast stage in which a DN in the low range of the original histogram is assigned to extreme black and the value of I and is assigned to extreme right. मतलब मतलब ये है the lowest value. You can see that the entire spectrum was from 0 to 255 in case of 8-bit data. Now the channels or the numbers that has been recorded by the sensor lies between 84, and this is the minimum range, and the maximum range is 153. So what does linear contrast test says us? What you do instead of getting this stretch from 84 to stretch this one into 0, and instead of stretching up to 153, stretch up to 255, so that your entire observation, your entire wait for a minute, there is a call. Hello. Yes. Yeah, can I call you after some time? I've got a class. Okay. So do you understand what was it? Please remind it again. What we are trying to say, anybody? Hello.
Yes, sir.
What we are trying to say, anybody?
The contrast enhancement types.
What we are trying to say, you have got the range value from 0 to 255. Now the data what was recorded was 84, the lowest. What is the recorded was 153, the highest. Now the data between 0 to 84 is still unutilized. Now the range between 153 to 255 is unutilized. So what this technique does, it stretches 85 and make it to 0, and then it stretches 153 to make it 255, so that we have got the full range of the spectrum, and the image what you are looking into or what you are seeing, you will get a clear representation, and the visual interpretation will be very high. So the remaining pixels are distributed linearly between these two extremes. That's it. Next. Wait for a minute. Somebody is there who wants to join. Can you see the screen? Linear contrast touch.
Yes, sir.
So linear contrast test, what we are doing by extending the original input values of the image, the total range of sensitivity of the display device can be utilized. So what we are doing, we are using the entire space to be displayed. Then linear contrast enhancement also makes subtle variation within the data. So because you are changing the values, means from 84 to means 0 if you are changing, and then you're changing 153 and you're making it to 255, obviously there will be variations in the number, and there will be variations in the appearance. So this type of enhancement are best applied for the remote sensing data with Gaussian or near Gaussian histogram, means all the brightness value fall within a narrow range of the histogram and only one mode is apparent. Means only one mode is that is not having a two mode or three mode. Means only one of feature is prominent and it is uh, seen into that, and that is known as bell shape. In order to uh, understand Gaussian, just like a bell, घंटी है ना तुम्हारे घर में, तो if you draw that घंटी or the bell, there will be a curve. So that curve, that is known as one dimensional. So that is known as one mode. So this kind of linear contrast stretching is more popular and will give better results for the data which has got a Gaussian appearance. Getting it? Now what does this linear contrast does? This has got the minimum value, then you have got the maximum value. So what it does, it will change the values from 0 to 255. And this is the formula that you are applying, y equal to ax plus b. So how it is computed, or how this y ax plus b, how this a and b value will be generated. So the value of this generated is the y max minus y mean by x max into x mean. It means minimum and maximum value on the x direction, minimum and maximum value on the y direction. It has to be calculated, it has to be noted, and this then formula has to be applied into that. And for the b, what we are doing, we are doing x max into y minimum, means x maximum y minimum, then again x minimum and y maximum, just the y divided by x maximum minus y minimum. So here x and y, what is this x and y? So x is the input variable and y is the output variable. So x mean x max, y mean y max are the minimum and maximum input and output values. So here whatever data that we are trying to do and whatever computation that will be performed on your image will depend on this formula, that is y equal to ax plus b, where you have already seen how a is calculated, how b is calculated, what is y is the output pixel value, and where from this y you will be getting it, you will be getting it from input pixel value, that is x, and that x and y value will be generated or will be computed by the minimum and maximum value of the distal number in x direction and into the y direction. So to stretch the data between 0 to 255, to stretch the data between 0 to 255, equation takes the form. The same equation will now be simplified or reconverted into y equal to x minus x mean divided by x max minus x mean into 255. Okay. So here x is the input value, x mean is the minimum value, x maximum is the maximum output value, x mean is the minimum value, and 0.25 is the total grayscale range. So if you do that, the value of each and every pixels will be generated and it will be reshuffled, and you will see a clear representation of the same value. So using this, the same formula, y equal to y x minus v by x max minus v into 255, what will be the change in the formula to stretch between 45 to 195? So you are seeing it, this is the linear stretch where this is known as minimum and maximum stretch, where the minimum value is seen, where the maximum value is seen, and this minimum value is taken into 0, and then this maximum value are taken into 255. So obviously what will happen? The contrast of the image will increase post linear stretch. So this is known as minimum and maximum stretch. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
But sir,
anyone please comment.
sir, your slide is not moving again.
Huh?
Sir, slide नहीं चल रहा है sir.
So you could have told me. Which was the slide that you were seeing? You were seeing this slide, then this slide. Have you seen?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
This one?
Yes, sir.
So now can you see?
Yes, sir.
So can you see this formula?
Yes, sir.
So y equal to ax plus b. So what our prima facie is that we want to get a data. So this will be the data that will having the minimum value and this is the maximum value. So using the linear stretch minimum and maximum, what we'll do, we'll stretch the data of minimum towards the 0 and maximum towards the 255. So the appearance of the image will be great in terms of minimum and maximum value, and you can adopt any of the technique depending on the image. There is no as such that for a particular image this particular technique is good. You can apply any of the technique and you can get one of the best results. Getting it? Can you see the screen linear and stretch before and after?
Yes.
Now this is the linear stretch that you are seeing it for the band 4, where you see the histogram distribution. What is the trend or its distribution? So the values between 12 to 43 are stretched to 0 to 255. So the value between lesser than 43 was made to 0, and the value which were at a higher end was made to 255. Okay. Now this is known as linear stretch based on minimum and maximum value of the satellite image. Now you have got percentage cutoff stretch. Now percentage cutoff stretch is the percentage linear contrast stretch that is similar to minimum and maximum linear contrast stretch, except this method uses a specified minimum and maximum value that lie in a certain percentage of pixels from the mean of the histogram. What does it say? It's also based on the minimum and maximum value of the pixels that are available in your satellite image. But here what we'll do, we'll try to make a group of percentage of pixels that is from the mean of the histogram. So what we are trying to do, you see this is the minimum and this is the maximum. So what we'll do, we'll take a percentage, we'll create a base. This is the stage 1, this is the stage 2, and then again what you do, you stretch this cutoff percentage to a percentile. Just like in your examinations also, you get a SGPA. What is that? That is a cutoff. So in order to get a percentage, you have to apply and you have to adopt a formula. So it can be multiplied or divided by 9.2 or what it is. It's different from university to university. So this is the minimum and the maximum. Getting it? Yes.
Sir, slide is not changing, sir.
Can you see?
Yes, sir.
So I'm not making it 100%. So what does the percentage linear stretch is similar to that of a minimum and maximum linear contrast stretch, except this method uses specified minimum and maximum value that lie in a certain pixel of from the mean of the histogram. So this is the red portion what we have highlighted. So this was the appearance of the image and the histogram of the image or the distribution of the pixels with their frequency post effect of percentage cutoff linear stretch. You will see that there is an increase in the brightness value. Now it has gone towards the 0 and now it has gone towards the 255. So that is known as percentage cutoff linear stretch. You have to make a cutoff near the minimum, near the maximum, and then you will be reclassifying it. Next is standard deviation linear stretch. It is similar to that of maximum and minimum linear stretch. except this mu method uses a specified minimum and maximum value that lie outside a certain standard deviation of a pixel from the mean of the histogram. So what you have to calculate? You have to calculate the mean of the histogram, and then you have to calculate the standard deviation of all the pixels. And on the basis of this standard deviation and the mean, the value which is beyond those mean will be classified into one tail, and then it will be reclassified into the other as a output. So a standard deviation from the mean is often used to referred as a push of the tail of the histogram beyond the original and maximum value. So what does it does? So you can see this. So in the normal distribution, about 68% of the values are within one standard deviation of the mean, and about 95% of the values are with a two standard deviation of the mean. So this is the mean, and then you have got one standard deviation, then you have got two standard deviation, and then you have got the third. So we are focusing on this third value, and this third value will be re-stressed to make it the lower values towards the 0 and the higher values towards the 255. So it all depends on your mean. So you have to calculate the mean, you have to calculate the standard deviation, and then on the basis of your standard deviation and your mean, you will be highlighting your third tail. There are two standard deviation, so you have got a third tail that is beyond that standard deviation, and on the basis of that we'll be applying this digital image processing techniques to it. Getting it? So this is gone the standard deviation linear stretch. So here you can see that this is the mean. Then you have got the two standard deviation. Then this is the value that is beyond the standard deviation. So you have to calculate the mean. Then you have to calculate the standard deviation. And finally the data beyond the standard deviation will be reclassified and will be made towards the 0, and the higher max will be towards 255, so that you get a clear representation of the image. So you can see that post classification, you see how the brightness value has changed with one standard deviation percentage linear stage is applied. So you can see that down this entire spectrum has been utilized and the clarity of the image has increased. So there is no such as such that there is a fixed formula that the best is minimum max or percentage cutoff or a standard. You have to apply all these techniques to a particular image, and that differs from image to image, from area to area, from country to country, from region to region. So out of 4 exercise if you have done, then on the basis of that 4 you have to highlight or you have to select either on the basis of your objective of the study, or the purpose of the study, or on the basis of visual appearance of the satellite image. Then you have got piecewise linear stretch. It's the same form how we have already done. That is when the distribution of a histogram in an image is bi or trimodal, means if there are 2 or 3 nodes together, and an analyst may state certain values of the histogram for increased enhancement in selected area. Like many times I don't want to state the entire values of the entire image. I want to focus, and I want to focus the values maybe between 60 to 90. I don't want to change beyond 90. I don't want to change beyond 30. So if for selective enhancement of an image, we use piecewise linear stretch. This method of contrast enhancement is called as piecewise linear stretch. A piecewise linear contrast stretch involves the identification of a number of linear enhancement steps that expands the brightness value in the modes of the histogram. So this all value will be changing on the basis of your histogram, and in the piecewise stretch, a series of small minimum stretches are set up within a single histogram. So you can see that this is a single histogram where between this you can see that we have broke up into 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I want to highlight, if I want to break up, if I want to express the distal numbers in between 60 to 90, I'll be segmenting, I'll be doing the stretching of only those number of pixels, not the entire images. So when you want to have a selective enhancement for any particular feature, like for forest type or for some structures or from geological type, I know not need to change the entire brightness of the feature or the image. Then I'll be doing it, I'll be transferring it through piecewise linear stretch. Then this is called sawtooth stretch. You have got various, these are various kind. You can select either. You can select either. There is no principles or fundamentals that this gives the best. According to their definition, according to their objectivity, according to your purpose, they'll be providing you the results. Then you have got sawtooth stretch. What it does, it says that the continuous data is divided into interval data. Means you will be making small pockets, and that each range is then stretched from 0 to 25. Means you'll be segmenting it into various ranges, and then you will be stretching it to a particular zone, just like a small pocket. Like if you have got pockets right now, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pockets. So I'll be classifying this into 5 different ranges, that ranges between 0 to 255. So such kind of stretching, when we are not trying to change the values permanently in the entire image, and the operation are linear in nature and are dependent towards each other, that is called as linear contrast stretch. Getting it? Yes, anyone? Rishabh,
Yes, sir.
understood?
Yes, sir.
What? List the
Sir,
methods that are used. Yeah, we can have a two-way round. It's very monotonous many times because from daily, from morning, we are going on speaking work. Whether you are understanding, that is the basic purpose. What you have understood? हिंदी में बताइए. हेलो,
yes, sir.
बताओ.
सर सर इमेज को सर स्ट्रेच करके वो हम उसकी पिक्सल वैल्यू को सर सर 0 to 255 के बीच सर उसको मैं एडजस्ट करते हैं.
बोलो, सही बोल रहे हो.
यस सर. सर स्ट्रेचिंग मेथड से सर वही हम उसको यूज़ करेंगे सर. उसकी वैल्यू को सर 0 और 255 के बीच में जो वैल्यू है सर उसको सर हम एडजस्ट करेंगे बीच में, ताकि उसकी विजिबिलिटी जो हो क्लियर हो सके सर.
हाँ, because atlas enhance करना है ना हमें.
Yes,
So
sir.
you have got different process through which you will be doing the stretching. So you can do contrast linear stretch, then you can do using a standard deviation, then you can do cut off piecewise, then you can do minimum maximum. So then you have got piecewise linear stretch, then you have got sawtooth stretch. So that are the different purpose and for different objects. When you have got bell shape, then you have got a particular uh, contrast stretching technique. When you have got two model histogram, then you have got a different histogram stretching, and when you have got three model, then you have got a different histogram stretching. Means the basic purpose of the above exercise is to improve your visibility, and that will be done using mathematical formulas, function, and definitions with calculation. Because here when we are trying to change the values are changed on the basis of digital numbers. What is the range, what is the spectrum, and what is the frequency. So if it has not occupied the entire frequency, obviously if the values are concentrated toward the middle object, so middle object and the brightness will have a better clarity, and the objects that are towards the ender sides, either on the darker side or the brighter sides, will not be clear in nature. So you have got various techniques through which either you use linear contrast or non-linear, the histogram image can be changed. So now non-linear histogram enhancement. The basic difference is when you're performing a non-linear contrast enhancement, the original values of the satellite image many times changes, and vice versa. If it happens many times, the features do get generalized, do get changed at some places. So you have to have a check, you have to see the operation, you have to see whether the objects what it was intended to be shown as a input image, the same thing has been or displayed in the output images. So it can increase and decrease the brightness at different channels, at different regions. So what are these operations that we are going to do, and the most popular operation which are those in nonlinear contrast enhancement? First is mathematical, other one is statistical. There are two way you can do any kind of enhancement in your satellite image using nonlinear contrast stretching or enhancement. First is logarithm, then you have got inverse log, then you have got exponential, then you have got square, square root, cube, cube root. They are the mathematical operation that will be performing the commands, will be running the equations, and there will be a change in the entire operation, and that will be on the basis of mathematical formula and equations. The other way around of changing the appearance of your image can be using a statistical operation that involves, and these are the most popular techniques that are used for enhancing the quality or the appearance of the images: histogram equalization, Gaussian stretch, trigonometrical operation involves arctangent. But out of these three transformation functions that we are trying to do in our satellite image for the visibility, the most popular and the most common is histogram equalization and Gaussian stretch. So what does logarithm contrast touch do? In the process, the logarithm value of the input data are linearly stretched to get the desired output value. What will be putting the log values linearly to get the desired output value. So it is in a two-way process. In the first step, we want to find out the log values of input DN values. So what we'll do, we'll be creating the log values of each and every pixels of the input DN numbers. And in the second step, the log values are linearly stretched to fill the complete range of 0 to 255. So what we are going to do in non-linear, will be taking out the log values of the pixels, and logarithm stretch has the greatest impact on the brightness value find in the darkened point of the histogram or on the low DN values. So what it does, if you want to change the values or you want to highlight the features which are having the range which are closer to 0, always try to include logarithm contrast rates so that the features would be prominently seen post enhancement. So what is the operation that you are trying to do? So you can see that this is the values that has been uh, plotted, and the log values has been calculated for each and every pixels. And then how you can see how these values are changing, and you are getting a new log value post processing of each and every classes, and the values which are closer to 0 will be having the higher contrast or the higher priority if you're running this logarithm stretch. So how does this the same thing it happens in non-linear stretch, that is also known as transform functions, where the most popular function or the most popular uh, age enhancement technique that is used is known as histogram equalization. This is the most popular. So in this technique, histogram of the original image is redistributed to produce a uniform population density. Right now, if you see that the histogram will be redistributed, somewhere it will be very high, somewhere it will be very low, but in histogram equalization will produce a uniformity in the histogram. This is obtained by grouping certain adjacent gray value. So what we'll do, we'll try to change the range value so that the values of the similar range can fall together to a new class where it was misclassified in the input image. Thus, the number of gray lanes in the enhanced image is less than the number of gray lanes in the original image. So obviously, if you're changing the class and if you're grouping it, the number will be less than the input because you're rearranging the entire histogram. The contrast is increased at the most populated range of the values of the histogram or the peak. So if you have got a histogram and that has got a peak which has the maximum peak, the brightness value will be more highest towards that peak on the image because it's highlighted the features which are at a peak at a higher portion. So it automatically reduces the contrast in very light or dark parts of an image associated with the tails of the distributed histogram. So what it does, it suppresses the darker section of the pixels and highlights the brighter pixels. So histogram equalization will see with an example that image analyst must be aware that while histogram equalization often provides an image with most contrast in an image enhancement, it may hide many needed information because it is not good for the features or the objects which are closer towards the darker side. So maybe it can hide those features or the values which are nearer to the zero values. So this technique groups pixels that are very dark or very bright into very few grayscales. If one is trying to bring out information about the data in terrain shadow or there are clouds in your data, histogram equalization may not be appropriate. So if you have got a shadow, means for the hilly terrains or for cloud cover images, if you are performing histogram equalization, the result that you will be getting won't be as good as you are expecting. So here you can see this is the first image A where the number of range value with the frequency has been written. So you can see that each and every pixels or the range has been divided into pockets, means 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. And among that you can see from 0 to 1 there are 790 pixels, from 1 to 2 there are 103 pixels, then 0 to 3 they are 850 pixels, then 3 to 4 they are 656, on and on and on. And for the same histogram, if you are making it, this is the histogram distribution, that you will see that it is unequal or not uniformly distributed, and the maximum values or the range is between 1 and 2 comprises of 1023 population. But what does this histogram does? It equalizes the entire operations, that is between 0, then 1 by total weight 7. So you go on dividing it by each ever, and you will get a range, and that range is plotted in the form of statistics. And finally you will see that many of the range value had been reshifted and they have gone to some other class. That's why you will find lesser number of class. There were 7 in case of original image, but when it comes to the output image, you will see that you have got 5 number of classes with their range values has changed, and the values that are closer to 0 are shifted towards the brighter side. That's why many times the features that are having the lower value or closer towards 0 may be hidden or may be changed to some other features. So those things has to be taken into consideration while you are performing histogram equalization. So you can see that how this histogram equalization will be done post classification. So on the left hand side it was prior, and the post you can see here how it has been changed and the entire spectrum has been preoccupied. So there is another term that is known as spatial frequency. If spatial frequency is high, spatial frequency is low. What does it means? Means radical variation in a gray scale. Means here when we are talking about the spatial frequency, we are talking about black and white. So here we are talking about variations in the gray leaf and slowly varying changes in the gray scale. So high frequency, you can see what are the high frequency, what is the low frequency. So whenever there is a average black and white, black and white, black and white, just like a chess boss, you'll say that is a high frequency. And whenever there is a uniformity and there is a range of distribution from black towards the whiter side, you can see that there is a range and it is slowly moving. So that is known as smooth frequency or low frequency. So high frequency image, you can say high frequency means black white, just like a chessboard. So rough texture, that will be said as a rough textured area of an image where the changes in the tone are absorbed over a smaller area with high spatial frequency. So this is known as high spatial frequency, and a smooth area with little tonal variation over the several pixels and have low spatial frequency. So using this images and the pictures, you can say that if you see an image, you can say which pixels is having a high spatial frequency and which image is having a low spatial frequency. Low spatial frequency refers to smooth texture, and high spatial frequency image denotes rough texture. Getting it? So spatial frequency depends on the number of changes in the brightness value per unit distance for any particular part of an image. So what is this composed of? Either you can have a high frequency details or you can have a low frequency details. So if you are having a low frequency details, what does it does? It does that few changes in brightness value over a given area, the changes will be very less. But high frequency, the changes with the lesser in time, you will have a very high frequency. So you can see these three images where by seeing these three images, you can easily say which is having a high texture, which is having moderate texture, which is having coarse texture, which is having smooth texture, which is having high frequency, which is having low frequency, which is having zero frequency. So if you compare yourself, you can see zero spatial frequency is a flat image in which every pixel has the same value. Either you can see white means all are having the same value 255, 255, 255. So it has got no variations. Low frequency image consisting of smoothly variation grayscales means gradually the color will change. So you can see how the white color is gradually going towards the darker side. So you can say this is a smooth image and this is a low spatial frequency image. And when you see a chessboard with black and white, that is known as high spatial frequency, or that is known as rough texture. Okay, so for today, we'll end up till here. for our today's class, that is spatial enhancement, and filtering will be doing in our tomorrow's topic. Okay, so now we can have a discussion on all the topics that we have done today. Yeah, Rahul, Rahul,
Yes, sir.
yeah, how was the class?
Fine, sir.
What you learned? It is more kind of, because digital image processing is more kind of a mathematical equation. Yeah, because you are from the non-mathematic background, so maybe you will be finding some difficulty, but you have to do it. There is no other choice that you have to say that you cannot do it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here we'll be doing it, we'll be trying to change the mathematical formulas or the equation or the statistics are being applied for the change in the visibility. Because at last our main purpose is to change appearance. So either it can be done using linear operation or it can be done using non-linear operation. So in linear, you have got minimum max touch, then you have got piecewise touch, then you have got standard deviation touch, then you have got Gaussian touch. All these things has to be taken into consideration for uh, because until unless you are not doing it. So always whenever you are doing it, all the techniques has got some positive merits and demerits. So what you have to do today, you have to go and you have to read the book Kiefer or Campbell, or what book you have with you available. Kiefer is there, I have already said. Then Campbell you have, then Bhatta you must be having, and there are other digital image processing books that are Woods. I've already given you. Woods is an excellent book into that. So you must go and have, because the presentations what we give is more kind of a topic that we try to conclude or try to clear within a given period of time. But according to the knowledge about to the clarity of the subject and the topic, until unless you are not reading the book, you are not doing it practically in your laboratories, a base understanding will be missing. And because it's a new topic, it's little bit of confusion, it's a complicated thing, it's not so easy to understand, because we the students from science backgrounds are generally scared of mathematics. But in digital image processing, the image processed is being done on the basis of digital value. All the operation that we are going to do, whether that is a pre-processing, whether that is during the process or post-processing, all the classification is based on your tonal values, means digital numbers, means mathematics. So you
Yes, sir.
cannot run away from all this mathematics thinking that maybe I'll be just reading it for the examination and having a more kind of a theoretical understanding of the subject rather than having practical understanding. Then you'll be finding a bit difficulty, because digital image processing is a technique that has to be applied on a satellite image regularly, very oftenly, because at last you want to classify your image, you want to process your image, you want to have a clear visibility, you want to have a clear cut dimension of the image. So until unless you are not doing it properly, you cannot classify it. So you cannot run away. So my suggestion is ki please read the books for all the topics that I am taking to, because that is a gist that I am taking to, but more knowledge, more subjective knowledge, more theoretical understanding, more examples can be betterly understand in your textbook. So please read textbook for digital image processing, And in case you find any difficulty with any of the topic, we can have a off time discussion where will be solving your all the doubts related to your digital image processing. But till now, I think that most of the topics must be clear. Do you have any problem with any of the topics that we have covered earlier?
Okay, sir.
एनी प्रॉब्लम? किसी को
No,
कोई
sir.
प्रॉब्लम है पुराने किसी टॉपिक्स में?
No, sir.
ओके देन, आज के लिए हमने इतना ही रखेंगे. आप जितने भी टॉपिक्स हमने पढ़ाए हैं आज तक, रेडियोमेट्रिक हो गया, जियोमेट्रिक हो गया, आपका ये लीनियर स्ट्रेच हो गया, नॉन लीनियर स्ट्रेच, भट्टा की बुक पढ़े, कीफर की बुक पढ़े, कैम्बल की बुक पढ़े, वुड्स की बुक पढ़े, और इसको बहुत अच्छा से पढ़े. चलो फिर इसके साथ आज का क्लास यहीं हम ख़त्म करते हैं. थैंक यू फॉर योर पेशेंस. हैव अ गुड डे. बाय. So what I have to do? I have to